All right, so this is our critical discourse for this week of October. Today's October 30th. And so we're going to be talking about the discussion we had on civil rights in class on Tuesday, and also the video we had to watch for this week. So do you want to start with or I guess we should just, did you have any overall feelings about, like, lasting?
Yeah, you know what, when we started watching the video, I really loved how it really talked about saying sorry, because I think sometimes stories can be so ungenuine. Is that a word? Not genuine, you know? And I think that they sometimes are just kind of like a blanket fix for something, a bigger problem. And I think we apologize as a human race too much without being genuine. And we don't teach that, you know, instead of apologizing for something, maybe we need to change something, or maybe we need to deal with something differently.
So what did he say? It's about doing something, not just saying something.
Yeah, and it's about, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it's not about apologizing or just to end something. Mm-hmm. It's to start something. Maybe it's a discussion. Maybe it's a, you know, whatever. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, no, I think that I also liked how in the video he kept on saying, I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really cool, because I think a lot of the problems, not a lot of the issues that people have, the issues that were kind of being discussed or being apologized for, people are looking for a concrete answer, or
a right or a wrong.
Or just something that they can put in a box. And I think acknowledging that you have a problem with something, so you want to look for something that'll change it somehow, but you don't know what you're looking for. But continuing that search, I think, is very commendable. And I think I really like that about it. And then it got to the end, and it was kind of like the answer. There wasn't really an answer. It was more of a revelation about the people who are involved. Mm-hmm. Like he said, I don't think my dad has not acknowledged the past. I think he's just left it in the past.
Yeah.
Or it's not that he hasn't felt it. He just has moved on. Or
what's done is done.
What's done is done. Yeah.
A direct quote. I don't know what the Chinese thing was for it, but
I can't remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think sometimes we just need to stop apologizing for things and start creating a way to make a better future, and stop continuing what we've been doing in the past. You apologize to the Chinese, then you apologize to the Aboriginals. Well, it's continuing to happen. It's a cycle, right? Yeah. We need to break the cycle, and we need to move forward, make it better.
Mm-hmm. And also, acknowledging that there was a problem, I think, is, like, I acknowledge, like, even if it's something as simple as someone hurting someone's feelings, I acknowledge that I hurt your feelings. And you don't want to force, because that doesn't get into the thing of being like, well, you have to say sorry. Like, say sorry. It's like, you have to acknowledge that you hurt someone's feelings. Like,
and how do you hurt somebody's feelings?
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Like, yes, okay. Like, I'm not asking you to feel sorry for it, because maybe you don't. Maybe you really don't feel sorry for it, but you have to say, I acknowledge that I hurt your feelings, at least. Because, he was talking about his mom's husband. Not his mom's husband. The guy who started looking for an apology for the Japanese. He was the one who started the movement, and then he said that they weren't looking, when they started it, they weren't looking for an apology. They were looking for acknowledgement of how the system broke down.
Yeah.
And acknowledgement in order to heal.
Yeah. And acknowledgement to, like, so that they know that they're wrong, that they're not always right, that there are other ways of seeing things, and there are other ways that people feel. Like, that one way isn't the only one, right?
Yeah, there are alternatives.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. That goes to talk about Musa's, is it Musa? Mm-hmm. His humanity talk, because what hit me home so much with him, was when he said, it's not, he said, what did he say? It was something like,
What was like idea?
treat people like I want to be treated. But that's not how they might want to be treated. And he blew my mind. And I'm like, you know what? That's so right.
Yeah.
Because, you know what? Some people love to have a big hug. Get a big hug when they feel bad. And some people don't like that. Like, even the different spectrums. Like, there's so many different spectrums and people and the way you cannot just pinpoint because that's how you want to be treated, that they want to be treated that way. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to start asking more of how people want to be treated.
Yeah, like,
and
how
what
can I do this for you? Like, I see that you're having a problem. What can I do to make it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in, like, a conversation with you, I have to be like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Yeah.
I don't know what I can do.
Yeah, like if I know that if I was crying, I'd want someone to hug me and like stroke my back. But like I'm not gonna just because I know that I do that when I want to help someone, I would be like, okay, because ultimately that's all you can draw from is your own experiences.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're thinking. You have no idea. So for people, and that's why communication is so important because that's the only way you're gonna know. It's like with anything. It's like no one's a mind reader. They don't know. Yeah. So, and the only way to know is to ask.
Yeah.
So, totally. Which is why you can never fault anyone for asking questions.
Exactly. Ever. And why I think like the major thing in communication or communication breakdown is assumption, right? Like assumption just kills all communication because you're assuming the person feels a certain way. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's off topic. But just
that was very because I've always really subscribed to that thing of treat people how you want to be treated and there's something really wrong with that because that's kind of like you wouldn't like if someone hit you, so don't hit someone else, or you wouldn't like if someone called you fat, so don't call someone else fat. And I think with kids that's kind of a simplistic way of talking about it. Mm-hmm. Of being like of bringing it back to them.
I hear you on that. Yeah.
Because kids are so egocentric, so the best way to get them to something to hit them is to bring it back to them.
Yeah, but I think as we grow and as we age, those skills should be taught. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a lot in part of actually acknowledging what you yourself do need, mm-hmm. because a lot of times we actually don't know those. Yeah, when I'm angry and pissed off and yelling at somebody, I might only need a hug, but I think I'm, I don't know what I need at that point. So
I'm trying to remember what else we talked about. I really liked the movie he showed about the Declaration of Human Rights, and I think that like I said in class while watching it, I couldn't help but think of so many instances. Like, it's insane how many instances where those things aren't practiced. Oh, yeah. And I think it's very hard to kind of flush those all out in a way that's not accusatory and it's not in a positive way. To kind of start that conversation in a way that doesn't sound like you're blaming someone or you're angry, or like start that conversation about those issues in a way that people feel comfortable conversing about them. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
It's a difficult thing to bring up too, because there's so many different
levels
of what people need and what people expect, and how women's rights or what we think is best for Israelis is different for what
different cultures.
Like it's so. There's such a variety that I think it's just being conscious. Like, we keep coming mm-hmm. back to this, being conscious of mm-hmm. these things. And like that example that someone was saying about the marketing, was that David, about they were marketing something to the Muslim women and the women about safe sex, and the women who were in the poster were nothing like how the Muslim woman would have dressed or anything, and then mm-hmm. it was inappropriate and it mm-hmm. probably wasn't taken as well as it would have been. Yeah. Just kind of acknowledging their culture mm-hmm. and then respecting that and working with that, mm-hmm. asking
but
what
then
they
need. It comes down to like you want to respect them, but like you don't know how. Like, I think a lot of people like and that's I really liked, or not really liked, but at the end he talks about your way of knowing is only one way of knowing. There mm-hmm. are many different ways of knowing, and that culture is not, what was it? It's not something. I have written down. And this is where, for me, it gets really hard uh-huh. because you have all these different cultures, and we have our culture, and I've spent a lot of time trying to think about our culture, like the culture of someone growing up in Canada on the West Coast.
It's hard sometimes.
And I think that there are a lot of negatives to it sometimes. I think that there are a lot of negatives in our culture. Like, for example, if you look at society and success and in social groups and whatnot, and how often to be accepted, to be included, you have to exclude someone. How often, like, you group together through exclusion of other people.
Mm-hmm. Give an example.
Like, I mean, I'm focusing more on, like, grade school kids when all the girls get together because they all make fun of all the skinny girls get together. But that's very simplified. But I see it even in adults, like even in moms, when they get together and they talk about the one mom that doesn't fit in, or if they talk about, but maybe that's.
Or how about, having electronics, being able to afford electronics.
Yeah.
I have an iPod.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Yeah.
I don't even have a computer because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
is, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I was going with this. I don't even. Oh, the different cultures. And I was talking about our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's very hard to know. If we're talking about, I want to do what you need me to do, and then to be like, well, what do you need me to do?
Yeah.
And then if they don't even know what they need you to do, then that's like you said, you need to know what makes you, what you need to have in order to be happy.
And I think too, like, I'm gonna make this my last point so this doesn't get on and on and on. Yeah. But I think too, it's like I was just saying in our volunteer thing, I said it's some people want to stay in their bubbles because they feel uncomfortable, or they'll be too upset with the fact that they're hurting somebody else, or that these people are underprivileged and being hurt by society. And that's not the point. The point is not to feel bad or to say sorry, because that's not the point. The point is to acknowledge that these things are happening, and then to feel a bit of empathy towards these people, and then step out and do something about it, because you are more privileged than the average. Well, they're not the average Joe, but then you are more privileged than most people.
You have the ability to do it. It's like you are able to do it. It's not even I think that's like you can do it. So
you have and you have the power to do it, because society has given you the power over this other class, right? So why don't you positively use that power to help them, to do something, to act on it,
And then conversely, acknowledge that they have something to teach you as well.
Oh yeah,
like that whole
good point.
Like the whole thing, but like, and that's where that power thing and that success thing comes on. Is like for us, it's so like in our society, in the society we exist in, we have more power because of money, because of access, etc., etc. But if you look, and the more that we learn about Aboriginal people, the more I feel like I have less power than they do, because, or not power, but I
understand.
If you're talking, if we're talking about levels, like they have so many skills that I deem to be very incredible to have, and that
I don't have like the connectedness.
And the ideas and the
interrelatedness.
And so there's that too.
And you're right. I get that's a good point, because it's not, we talk all the time about the helping and we need to help, and I didn't mean help in that way. It's more like
I totally get it,
and
but
doing
I just
something.
No, thank you. Make that point.
Thank you.
Because that's, and then there's so many other conversations you want from that, like going to third world countries and being like, we want to help. But then being like, well, the help what you think is help is not help, and what we see as help, you don't see as help. So it's that like,
and like even us handing out coffee is like it's helping us feel like we're more connected to a community.
It's like the video. It's like the video. He said, is the apology for them or for you?
Yeah.
Like is who is the apology for? Why are you apologizing? Is it really going to help them?
No. And like, I think the major thing is like by us acknowledging that it's out there, and by us doing something, by something, handing out coffee, or, for me, paying Christmas fees to the African kids so that they can go to school. They have paid school at Christmas time. it's also helping me, and it's showing me that I can be part of a bigger community, and that, you know, that I can touch people and that people can touch me, and then it's, you know, it's me feeling part of something. So.
Sorry,
anyway,
we just this is what these critical discourses do for us. We just roll on.
It's dinner. See, sure. Right, you see? Stir fry on quinoa.
Yum. All right.
Okay.
Bye bye.